Hello, my name is Chattopadhyay. I go by Rini. Today I'll be talking about our analysis on vlogs from developers on YouTube and their impact on the community. This project is a part of our 2020 summer research with Tom Zimmermann and Denae from Microsoft Research St. ES team.
Who is a developer? If we ask this question, you're probably going to be imagining something like this. For decades, our perceptions of who is a developer has shaped through movies and social media. Some genius hacker who, along with his intellectual friends, cracking an entire systems, that's what we think of when we think of developers. However, the landscape of developers has changed, and although you and I know it, getting that message across to general audience and people outside the tech industry is of utmost importance. These misconceptions about who is a typical developer, barriers for people who are discounting the idea of even pursuing a tech career because they think they're not as genius or they don't possess the skills. One such platform of getting the message across is YouTube. YouTube has over 2 billion monthly logged in users and billions of views per video. And a popular format of these YouTube videos are vlogs. Vlogs are where people from all professions, like cafe owners to doctors, record their day-to-day life. In 2015, this trend also started among developers. Now there are thousands of vlogs showing what a developer's day is like, which in turn garner millions of views from general audience. In this work, by analyzing the vlogs and related materials, we are seeking to answer what are developers' motivations and intentions for creating these day-in-the-life of vlogs, what content do developers share through these vlogs, and how does the broader community who are viewing these vlogs perceive developers. To answer these questions, we perform a three-part study. The first study was analyzing 130 vlogs on YouTube, which had about 150 subscribers in average, with a max of 2.4 million subscribers. On an average, it had 270k views, and we analyzed each video regarding the content and topics that's covered in these videos. Then we ran a study with 16 of these vloggers. We interviewed them, asking them for the motivations of why they vlogged, and we asked them further clarification questions about the content that was in their video. And lastly, we analyzed 1176 comments that was left under the 130 vlogs that we analyzed. On an average, these vlogs garnered 516 comments, and we mined the top 10 comments whenever they was available, and we analyzed these comments for what the topics of these comments were about. To answer the first research question, we looked into the interviews with our 16 developers who also vlogged. From our interviews, we identified the main motivations that drive these vlogs. Developers are motivated to clarify their identity, that they lead a normal life, normal fulfilling life outside work, and want to show it in their vlogs. Some developers are motivated to find and build a community, or other developers from different companies and countries, which further motivates some developers to grow their professional networks through vlogging. Some developers are interested in promoting diversity in their community and they curate their content to help these marginalized communities, while other developers are more interested in creating awareness about jobs and software development world as a whole to their entire audience. Next, we attempt to answer what these vlogs contain. Upon closer look at the vlogs themselves, we identified the main topics that are discussed within these vlogs. Developers elaborated the pathway to learning how to code or learn about computers in general, and sometimes they did so by sharing their own experiences. They also used vlogs to show the different career paths, how to change job, and what is entailed in these journeys. Some vlogs also focused on non-traditional working environments, especially from home, remote, or freelance, and how those vary from work at the office setting. Vlogs also emphasize the importance of collaboration and creative element in programming or any kind of software development jobs. Outside of work, vlogs show that the career can be stressful, and developers discuss various strategies to manage stress at work. And also, they show their life outside work with their friends, families, or engaging in different hobbies. It's received by the general community of audiences. We do so by analyzing the comments that are left under the vlogs. See that the vlogs are usually treated as a source of information and consultation by the viewers who are leaving the comments. They would ask questions that are related to lifestyle, such as relocating to a specific city for work, or technical or information that is specific to tools or language. In other cases, the comments were about discovering a community to engage with. Sometimes they would leave inspiring messages or messages of being inspired, such as, because of this video, I will become a software developer, or they would often share their side of the story. From our investigation of the motivations that developers talked about in the interviews, the topics that developers discussed through the vlogs, and the comments and the topics that are discussed in the comments, we find that as these aspects contribute in one way or the other to dismantling various stereotypes about developers. Motivations of the developers who vlog guide the topics that they discuss, which in turn challenge the misconceptions and stereotypes about developers' work and life. These stereotypes are actually the barriers that are around the developer communities and unconsciously or consciously affect people who are considering developer as a career choice. The three main stereotypes that we found are challenged by these vlogs and the people around the vlogs are: who is or can be a developer, how is a developer's work life, and the personal life of developers. We will take a look at some of these stereotypes and how they are dismantled by these vlogs. One of the first stereotypes of a developer's identity is developers are mostly male and mostly of European descent. And we see that the 130 vlogs that we analyzed, the developers from these vlogs represent over 21 different countries. Also, some of the comments that are left under the vlogs are from developers on different countries, where they would discuss how the practices and the culture vary. As developers are a young crowd with no responsibility other than themselves. We found multiple of our developers who wanted to say that it is possible you can be a parent and you can still be a developer or any other position that you want to do. We also found multiple vlogs which show that developers lead their life as mom and dad. We also found that there are multiple comments that are left in under these vlogs which also talk about developers who are in these adult roles. Another stereotype about a developer's identity are developers are math wizards and they're born with inherent coding skills and are geniuses. Against these, there are multiple developers who emphasized in our interviews that they are not geniuses and they don't know calculus or advanced math, and they are actually from different backgrounds of technology or even art, and they have been successful developers. Also, vloggers in their vlogs discuss their journey from non-technological backgrounds like a nurse or an artist to develop. Next, we look at some of the stereotypes about the work life of developers, one of which is developers code all day and knows nothing beyond. And again, in our interview, we saw that developers would emphasize how they would engage in other activities outside of code. For example, it might be art, it might be baking, it might be other hobbies that they enjoy. In one of the videos, we found that the developer is actually pointing out that coding does not actually involve sitting in front of your editor all day. It's actually a lot of communication and management of other people. And we also saw some other developers who left comments saying that software engineering is not just coding, and there is a lot of elements that are involved in a developer's day-to-day work life. Turning into the personal life of developers, we have one of the stereotypes where developers have no time for fun, they're working all day. The vlogs, 50% or more of the vlogs emphasize the time they spent outside of the work with their friends, family, doing hobbies, engaging in martial arts, or volunteer basketball games, or going to trivia and movies with their friends, or spending time with their kids. From our analysis, we can see that vlogs contribute to not just the general audience, but it has a further impact. One of which is directly to the research and the community of software engineering researchers. Vlogs are actually a very rich source of information about developers. It can also help us inform about social interactions at work, the practices and tools. The software engineering research community can also leverage rich information from vlogs, blogs, and other forms of literature, which is a much cheaper format of information compared to conducting full-scale observation studies. Vlogs also help bring the spotlight on all communities, including the marginalized communities that are not supported in these observation studies just because we don't have access to them. They can further improve by detecting the marginalized group and projecting these vlogs and sources of information to these groups. With that, thank you for attending the talk, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take it.